Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm just doing a Q&A just to kind of catch you up from where I've been for the last 5 months. I asked you guys about a week ago to submit questions if you had any. I wanted to start with just kind of an update on what all we had going on over the summer, because May is when, well, it might have been the end of April when I published my last video. And then May, June, July, and August were all pretty full, and when all of my kids are home for the summer, it's just really challenging to remain in the habit of filming on a regular basis. And as you know, if you've been here for a long time, when I get out of the habit of filming and posting on a regular basis, it is so hard for me to get back in that habit. Now, just for fun, I am probably going to insert some pictures and some videos as I'm telling you what all we did in May, June, and July. Not all of them were, well, none of them were taken with YouTube in mind. So some of them are going to be in portrait mode rather than landscape, but you still get to hopefully enjoy some of the glimpses into our summer and what we did as a family. But we'll start with May. May, our third son, which is our third oldest, graduated from high school, which was very exciting. He was actually our first to graduate from like a real school. We homeschooled our oldest two all the way through graduation and have taken different paths with all of them since. But our third son was really interested in engineering, and I just didn't feel super confident that I had challenged him enough in the maths and sciences to know for sure if he was engineering material. So I said, how would you feel about going to school for your senior year and taking some pretty challenging math and science classes? This would be a small Christian school that actually my husband and I both graduated from, and my mother-in-law has worked at for 37 years. And it's where our younger two go to school full time. This is also where all 4 of my teenagers have taken chorus and drama for the last several years. So it's not like he would be going in knowing no one for his senior year. And so it was a bit more like, yeah, that sounds great. It was a super fun year for him. Different, in some ways because he started his final year of high school. But he played football, which also rolls into what we did in May. He starred in their spring musical. He was Jack Kelly in Newsies. And we'll see if I can add a clip in here for that.
When nothing, are we nothing? No! Pulling to our cars, they think they got us. Do they got us? No! Even though we got natural passion, we are union just by staying strong. And the world will know.
So in May, he had surgery to repair a torn ACL, which occurred in football season. We just did not realize it was as bad as it was until the beginning of this year when something else happened. And we're kind of wondering if maybe it wasn't a partial tear and then this super minor movement at the beginning of the year just like finished it off. But anyways, on May 1st, he had surgery and had that repaired. Recovery went unbelievably well, which is good because about 13 days after surgery, he had an AP exam, and then I think the 17th of May was his high school graduation, which was really miraculous because, first of all, he had an exceptional year academically. It really kind of sealed the fact that engineering is the field that he wants to pursue, and he did very well and really enjoyed those crazy challenging math and science classes. But he was so well recovered 17 days after a complete ACL repair. He lost 60% of his meniscus, and he walked across the stage and got his diploma unassisted. He had his big old brace on, but no crutches, no help. It was amazing. Then in June, we didn't go anywhere per se, but it was so full. June was the month that all the camps occurred. We had like a week-long, really fun girls' camp at our church, which I help lead a portion of that camp. And it is like, it feels like 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. It's not 9 to 5. It's like, well, just about. It's 7 to about 2:30. Anyway, so that was super fun. Charlie did some camps at school. We had 3 family birthdays, Father's Day, and then all 3 of my teenage girls worked all summer, and they worked a lot in June and July. And so I was pretty much a full-time chauffeur for most of June because none of them are driving alone yet. So that pretty much summed up our June. Our second oldest son, Jesse, is in college for musical theater. For one of our sons to come to us and say, I I want to major in musical theater. I thought it would be hard, but I really feel like God gave us peace about it. He has just had so many opportunities come about since really like the beginning of high school. He's had so many lead roles, and we knew that leaving home and going off to a large university would be the difference between being a big fish in a small pond versus a really small fish in a really big pond. But that has not been the case. And that incredible favor and opportunity has continued in college. In fact, Jesse played Rochester in Jane Eyre back in November of last year, and James Barber, who played Rochester on Broadway, came and saw the show and spoke to Jesse and introduced himself afterwards, and they exchanged contacts, and he's actually coming back to see him in November in A Tale of Two Cities, because Jesse has the same role that James Barber had on Broadway for A Tale of Two Cities as well, which is it's pretty surreal as his mom to hear these amazing connections and opportunities. And I think I look forward to being a spectator and a fan in whatever God has for his life after graduation. He will graduate in May of this year. But all that to say, Jesse had his first professional contract at a theater in Iowa over the summer. And so he was gone. He never comes home, hardly ever. He never comes home for the summer like most college kids, because he has an apartment that he rents with a roommate, which is one of his very best friends, and a good job up in Virginia. And but this past summer, he had this 10-week contract with a professional theater company in Iowa. And so in July, they did 4 different shows over the course of the summer. And he had one of the lead roles in this show in July. And so my husband and I went up and saw him at the end of July, which was super fun. But Jesse celebrated his 21st birthday while he was there, which was sad for him not to be here with us for his birthday. But I got to experience Instacart for the first time in my life and sent a bunch of goodies and some birthday cake and balloons and things like that to him at the theater because they rehearse 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. like 5 or 6 days a week. It's pretty wild, the intensity when you're at the professional level. It was really fun to kind of just be a fly on the wall and get updates from him over the summer. But here's a little clip from that show.
You're a sweet girl, rockin' and rockin'. On your feet, girl. Get going, this is what we need. Go, slide, daisy, daisy. You smell like a rose, you make man crazy. But it won't be me. Oh, me on the river. Right back to this house. I won't be gone forever. Just let me go now.
While we were away, we sent Penny, our milk cow, off to a friend's family farm. We called it her honeymoon. The goal was to get her pregnant with their Jersey bull. Now, as of right now, I mean, this is mid-September, we still aren't sure if she's pregnant. I have tested her twice, but of course bovine pregnancy tests are very different than human tests. I've had to draw her blood twice, for both of the tests. Both of them have been negative, but she's also shown some pretty stereotypical signs of being bred. The easiest way for us to know for sure if she is pregnant is for us to bring some of our cows back home that have been grazing on some friends' land for the last year, put a heat sticker on her back, and if that heat sticker does not get rubbed off over the next 3 weeks, then that means she has not been in heat. And then we'll know for sure that she is pregnant. If she is not pregnant, then we will be contacting our vet again to do artificial insemination. We're really, really hopeful that she is pregnant, but I'll keep you posted on that. And of course, August is back to school month. It is one of my favorite times of the year. More than anything, I just really, really love getting back into a routine. My oldest girls, they're doing the vast majority of their school online, but it has been such a blessing to me as an entrepreneur and someone who works from home. I feel like a different person. I didn't realize how much their academics were weighing on me trying to do everything with excellence, and I'm going to get to that question in the Q&A part in a few minutes. But since they've been doing school for almost a month now, this is why I'm back. Like, just having so much more time during my day. And of course, I still check in with them and I check on their work and all of that kind of stuff. And they have total access to me during the day. But I'm able to just cruise through my to-do list and make sure I'm keeping up with laundry and housework and meal prep and grocery shopping and answering business calls and, Zoom meetings and all the things that I was feeling like were all interruptions to our day when I was trying to handle the majority of their actual teaching and academics. So that's been a huge blessing. I'll put the link to the program that we're using, or the website that we're using, in the description in case any of you are homeschoolers and are interested at all. It's been amazing, and I'm so grateful. Okay, now I'll move on to your questions. The first question was, how do I juggle it all? So I guess I should start with, what all am I juggling? We still have 5 of our 8 children still at home. 2 are in school full-time, our 2 youngest, and then our 3 oldest girls are at home doing homeschooling, but it's all online this year. I also own a residential cleaning company that I primarily run from home. I'm a business instructor for an online conservatory, which I love. And we have a small farm where we also have a milk cow that has to be milked twice a day. Now, Josh does the mornings and I do the afternoons, and then stuff has to be done with that milk. So I deliver milk 3 or 4 days a week. I also process a lot of the milk and make cheese and chocolate milk and occasionally ice cream and sour cream and ricotta cheese and butter, of course. But all of that stuff takes time. I would say last year I did not juggle it well. I will also say, God gives you grace for the season that you're in. And one of the Lazy Genius principles is live in your season. I'm not sure I ever got to that one when I was making videos on the Lazy Genius principles, but one of them is live in your season. And so that means, if you have a child in travel baseball, then more than likely having dinner around the table as a family every night is not a realistic goal for the season that you're in. However, we are in a very different season now. We only have, I say only, but for us it feels like only 5 kids left at home. And we're not in the midst of any extracurriculars in this current season. Plus, my girls are doing their school online now, and I feel like a whole world has opened up to me. So the way that I juggle it all is, number one, I almost never stop. I almost never sit down and don't do anything. In fact, it's dangerous for me if I kind of like come into my room to fold some laundry and I'll pick up my phone and start scrolling for a minute, whether it's a YouTube video or Instagram or something. And 45 minutes to an hour can go by in a flash. And I don't have time to wait. I don't have that kind of time to waste. I kind of wish I did, but I do not. My own mother actually says to me often, I don't know how in the world you do it all. You're so busy. And I don't like the word busy, but my life is very full at this moment. But I don't find it hard to accomplish the things that I need to accomplish because I stay pretty task oriented. I love productivity and efficiency. And so I order my day accordingly. And I start off my morning with a pretty specific routine in order to get some of my actual computer work out of the way. And then I primarily have the rest of the day to do all the household things, to film these videos, to get supper started really early. I've started milking Penny pretty early in the afternoon, like 2:30 or 3, so that once the little kids get home, they have my undivided attention and we can work on homework or studying or just hang out. They can help me finish up supper, but it feels so different with this change of season and just kind of being in a peaceful but full season of life right now. I did add in my last video that I'm going to share with you guys soon, probably in my next video, about how I have changed all of our food stuff. It hasn't been like anything major drastic, like we're now vegan or anything like that, but it has been a shift in how I grocery shop, how I budget, and even my meal planning and cooking and things like that. So I look forward to sharing with you about that because it's just been another way of simplifying, which, as you know from the title of my channel, I'm all about. But as a whole, I have kind of declared this year the school year of no for me. So I allow myself to release the pressure of feeling like I need to sign up for everything that is asking for volunteers, or commit to all the things that have a need at church, or one of my huge ones that I don't necessarily say no to, but I do make sure I consult our family's calendar before I sign up for stuff. But I am such a sucker for meal trains, like meal signups, whether someone has a death in the family, or they just had a baby, or maybe they're recovering from surgery or going through chemo. I know what a blessing it is to receive meals in times of stress or grief or recovery. And food is my love language. I'm pretty sure I've said that before on this channel. I love feeding people. It's such an easy, practical way for me to serve others. And it's very inexpensive. And it's just, it's such a beautiful picture of servitude by doing something humbling, like just bringing people a meal. So I have continued to do that, but I do it carefully and very intentionally according to, the rest of what's going on in our family. The next question was, do we have a regular date night? This one kind of stuck me in the heart because we had a regular weekly date night every Tuesday for over 7 years. And every other week we would take one of our children with us. However, post-COVID, and it was even more special during COVID because they were car dates. Like we would have to pick something up from somewhere or even drive through somewhere because restaurants weren't open for the most part, at least in the beginning. And then we'd have a car date. So if it was one of our children's turns, for their date night, then we would, let's say, drive through, our favorite taco place. And then we'd pull into a parking lot somewhere and we would bring like my iPad or we use one of our phones and put it on the dashboard and like watch a movie with whoever, whichever child was with us, or like play a game in the car or something. Or even take our dinner and just go to a local park, which were pretty empty, during the height of COVID. But so that was such a special time. Like we would even, our oldest son hasn't lived here in quite a few years, and we would even invite him down, like if he wasn't working, when what would have been his date night would come around, we'd be like, do you want to come home for date night? And occasionally he could. So that was really fun. It was a great way for my husband and I to stay connected in those much busier seasons of life, but also for us to connect with our kids one-on-one, and they loved it too. But it became so expensive as food costs and restaurant costs and stuff went up over the last like 5 or 6 years. Well, I guess primarily 4 or 5 years. We just got to a point where it was like, okay, we're going to cut date night for maybe 6 months. But now it has been, I don't know, I'd have to look back and have Josh look at the budget, because we had, like a line item in the budget for date night. But it's been well over a year, I think, at this point since we stopped. But I'm super excited to say we're actually restarting date night tonight. Tonight is just a double date with friends. But then next week we will start with our oldest that's still at home. But we're going to be much more frugal and efficient with our date nights from here on out. So we have a local taqueria that has Taco Tuesdays, and their tacos on Tuesdays are $2 a piece, and they are so good. And so even if it's a kid's date night, and so there's 3 of us, and we all get 2 or 3 tacos and water, and of course we have chips and salsa for free, then we're getting out of there for less than $25, even with a tip. And so I think the goal will be to keep it around $25 to $30 a week, and that's totally manageable. So we are also going to give them the option of us eating dinner as a family on their date night, and then we take them out for dessert, like ice cream or something. So all of those things are options, and we'll probably just take it one week at a time and just see. But I'm really, really excited to reinstate date night, and I would highly suggest, if you do not have a regular date night with your spouse, or even a regular time to spend time one-on-one with your children, to carve out some time for that. Oh, I know this involves money, but another option for our kids, because of what we have available locally, Tuesdays happen to be either $5 or $6 movie nights at 2 different theaters in our area. So we could, if we did dinner at home and then went to the dollar store and got some movie candy and then went to a $5 or $6 movie, we'd still be out for under $25. So that would be an option as well. All right, the next question was, what is my favorite hobby? And I had to think long and hard about this one. I don't feel like I have any hobbies because the things that I love to do are just a regular part of my everyday life. We have been living in our house on our land for 6.5 years now. And I can still tell you that choosing this like homestead lifestyle is what we love. Like, is it hard work? Yeah. Is gardening really frustrating? Yes. And it's a lot of work, but goodness, I love it. I still love milking the cow and having a fridge full of milk on a daily basis. I love working with the animals. I love having people over to our farm because living on land with cows and stuff is not normal. So when people come over that haven't experienced that, it's so fun to see the joy on their faces and they get to go meet the animals and things like that. But I still love this simple agrarian lifestyle that we've chosen. I love that my kids who are out of the house love to come home to this. I can't imagine us ever leaving because this is home and this is kind of like a place of solace and rest and retreat. And, when our older boys and soon to be daughter-in-law come home to the farm, it is just a place where they know what they can expect. And I love that. My very favorite parts of my life, I guess, would be gardening, like all things gardening. I love flowers. I love growing fruits and veggies and berries and doing all the things with that. I really love being proficient in the kitchen. So I'll post a lot on Instagram what I'm doing throughout the day in the kitchen. So whether that's roasting our own coffee or making butter because we're all out, or making pasta because I want to make this really delicious dinner and homemade pasta is the best way to go, or making tortillas because we're going to have enchiladas and I don't have any store-bought tortillas right now, so I can take 30 minutes to make homemade tortillas, which are incredible and really easy. I love sharing all of that kind of stuff too. That is, I would say this is my hobby as well. So just being able to share a simple but fulfilling and healthy life on YouTube and Instagram is really fun and fulfilling and a creative outlet for me. So that's probably, I didn't really think about it, but that's definitely a hobby as well. I'm also in a book club, which I love. I really like listening to audiobooks because I'm in my car almost every day for something, whether it's delivering milk or running to my office or even multitasking at home. It's so wonderful to just be able to pop one earbud in so I can still hear my girls and everything else, but listen to an audiobook. I am currently reading Theo of Golden, which is fantastic. And there actually isn't an audiobook in existence for that book. So I've been reading it. And I was on a business trip a couple of weeks ago in St. Louis, and I had a hotel room to myself for 3 nights. And I had a bit of downtime in the midst of the conference, and it was the graduation for the school that I teach for. And I was able to knock out over half the book, which is 400 pages long. But I love book club. We only meet once a month. We read one book a month, and it's just really fun to get together with those ladies and discuss what we've read at the end of each month. Another question was, and this was kind of funny, do I still have a car wash membership? So several years ago, I did like a year-end recap video, and I was sharing I think how much I made on YouTube my first year. So this would have been quite a few years ago. And what some really small things that I did for self-care. I don't really love that phrase, but the 2 of the things that I remember listing, and one of you remembered at least one of them, was that I have an unlimited car wash membership. Now, keep in mind, we live on a farm with a dirt gravel driveway, so most of the year it is extremely dusty and dirty, and my car's white so it stays filthy. Plus our soil here is extremely sandy, and so even the inside of my car would always have sand in the carpets and that kind of stuff. But also I'm meeting with clients on a somewhat regular basis as well. So I might have a walkthrough with a client and I'm pulling up to their house or in their driveway and my car is filthy dirty. So that was something that I started, I think not long after we started the company, many years ago. I bought an unlimited car wash membership. I think it's like $16 a month. I think when I recorded that video, it was like $25 a month, but I stopped it for like 2 months because I thought, you know what, I'm going to eliminate this line item in the budget. And it was a bad idea. My car got filthy so fast, and I just desperately wanted to drive through the car wash. So when I went to renew, it was only like $16 or $17 a month. So it was even cheaper. But I do still have that. And then the other self-care thing was for a little while, I was going once a month to the nail salon and getting a gel manicure, because gel polish stays on my fingernails anyways for a solid 2 weeks at the least, sometimes 3 or 4, depending on how fast my nails are growing. But it didn't take me long to realize for the cost of one gel manicure, I can get everything I need to do it myself at home. And so I did that years ago. I got the UV light and several of my favorite colors of polish, and I've been doing it at home for myself and my girls for many years now. And it's just one little thing that brings me joy, having well manicured fingernails. I'm using my hands all the time for stuff, and even like washing dishes and milking the cow and, cleaning and all that kind of stuff. My gel polish stays shiny and unchipped for the most part, and it's just a little thing that brings me joy. So I still do both of those things. And the very last question was, what do I do to relax and have me time? I would say, particularly in this new season of life where my youngest 2 are, in school full time, which has been the case for several years. And then my oldest 3 girls that are still at home are doing school online now. And so they're sitting at the dining room table or maybe on the couches in the living room for quite a few hours during the day. And I have this long stretch, like at least 5 hours, that I get to do the things that are on the top of my list, the things that matter most to me, whether that is pertaining to work stuff or just things that bring me joy and pleasure. And it's all pertaining to the house and the farm and maybe reading my book for book club. But that is what I'm able to do now, Monday through Friday, from like, let's say 8 a.m. to about 2 p.m. That is my relaxing me time, because I don't know if maybe I have ADHD or I'm just a high energy person, but sometimes always I am very energized by having alone time. And so when the Munchkins leave, we call our 2 youngest the Munchkins. When the Munchkins leave for school, and my big girls are getting started with their stuff, I just get this burst of energy, sometimes even before my morning coffee. And I just get going, and I don't stop with my to-do list and the things that I'd like to get done. And that is what keeps me energized and motivated. When I think about what I do to relax, I have a hard time just being still. I even have a pretty hard time sitting on the couch and watching a movie or a show. I enjoy it, but I'm usually multitasking in some way. So I'm either also reading something on my phone, or folding laundry, or running into the kitchen to, finish putting the kitchen to bed and things like that. And I don't necessarily feel like that's a flaw. We used to tease my mom that she could never get through a movie. She would always get up and be running around and doing stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm the same way. And it's not a bad thing. I do know how to spend quality time with my family, and I do plenty of that. But I also realize that just being productive and efficient brings me a lot of joy as well. All right, I think I got through everything. If you have more questions based on the information that I gave you today, please feel free to leave them in the comments, and I will start a list for another Q&A another time. I don't think I've ever done a Q&A. And I've had this channel for a long time. If you are still here after all this time, congratulations. Thank you for being here. I'm glad to be back, and I intend to post at least 2 videos a week. That is probably a good starting point for me, and maybe as I get into a better rhythm, then I can post even a little bit more. Also, feel free, if you have any other video ideas that you would like to request, to leave that in the comments as well. And as always, thanks for watching.